So this will not be one of the TEDx talks, which are very popular. So we will not save the world, we will not find the cure for cancer, we will not solve the famine in Africa. But what we would like to do is to give you an insight in what we have done in the previous 2 days, to have an insight into the process of our thinking, because we were all gathered from different backgrounds. Me coming from PR section, Aleksandra coming from architectural background, Admir coming from visual arts, Maya coming from NGO, and Ivan as a puppet master at the municipality of Ljubljana as a senior advisor. So the topic of today's conversation, or actually our presentation, is Creative Clean Tech Hub. What we had in mind in this is to rethink about Ljubljana not only as a capital city, but also what Ljubljana has to offer. Because every time we discuss Ljubljana and the capital cities, we usually forget about, we always complain about, because Slovenes we are very keen to complain, but we usually do not think about it as what are advantages of living in Ljubljana. We have a great university, we have the region of Ljubljana is definitely a region with the highest income, we have the most educated population here. So this all can be used as a stepping stone towards the progress and process of Ljubljana into being even a greater capital. So this year, because we are all green oriented, during the Green Capital, Ljubljana as being a green capital of Europe, we understood this branding as one of the stepping stones for Ljubljana to become a creative clean tech hub. What does it actually mean? This was one of our points in thinking about Ljubljana. We first have to consider that we have different stakeholders here, and how we should all connect them together. So one of the ideas was that we should create a triangle. Of course, these processes are already going on and taking place in Ljubljana, but at the same time, we're not thinking about them and we're not reflecting how these processes actually work and how can we improve them. On one side, we have education. As I said before, we have university with 50,000 students. We have research centers, not enough, and also we have businesses. What's in the middle of it is knowledge, and knowledge is the pivotal point of our thinking. How can we connect research/innovation, business, and education in a triangle that intertwines and at the same time enables people to actually elaborate and develop clean tech hubs here in Ljubljana? What we have done as a starting point was to reflect what is already there and what is missing. Because we're talking about clean tech, we have to also talk about how we can use the already existing infrastructure and already existing resources. So, especially with Aleksandra's help on the work in Helsinki, we were thinking about what are the existing resource infrastructure and how to integrate the aforementioned knowledge triangle in this strategy. Green infrastructure and, of course, circular economy were one of the key points, which, and Maya from Smetomit, from the NGO that is based in reusage of waste reusage, and they're actually working in green business, actually helped us a lot understanding how circular economy and green infrastructure can be intertwined all together, and this was also one of the things we have done. So we focused on Ljubljana as a place of a creative designer, great infrastructure, circular economy, and we try to bring the innovation into designer clean green tech by using several pivotal points: reuse, recycle, waste prevention, energy production, recovery, sustainable life patterns. In our opinion, these are 5 points we should always keep in mind when talking about creative designer green hub. Just a clear example, most of you have already heard about it before. Just there are examples what can be done by just using and actually encouraging not only public but also private sectors into developing products of different kinds by using the already existing resources. So we'll talk about the challenges.
I'll talk about the challenges. So the main challenge for us will be to, like it was already said, to look at the facilities and infrastructure and actors that are already here in Ljubljana, and by putting them together so we can make sure that this knowledge triangle, which is an EU term, can be really integrated into the city. So we are going to utilize and create channels between these three different fields, which is business, so investors, private stakeholders, people with financial capital, then education, which involves academics, but also students, researchers, postdocs, and research, which can be NGOs, which can be research agencies, both governmental or non-governmental. And the main purpose of the strengthening process of this triangle will be the transfer of know-how. So we will concentrate on taking the knowledge that is already there and then adding the innovation aspect to it by just facilitating the networking and the channeling of information, because like it was already said, everything is already there, but we can't allow these three different fields to just exist in isolation, because it doesn't make any sense, because then they will just never bump into each other. So we need to make sure that they know what each one of them is doing, what markets they are concentrating on, what products they are proposing, what education facilities they have, so that they can really consolidate everything they have to offer. And the main purpose will be to bring entrepreneurship into this triangle. And like I said, put the different stakeholders together. So this includes structures from national and local governance, different actors from research center, agencies, students, academic, investors, NGOs, and so on. And we came with the strategy, so for the city. We are not trying to concentrate on providing solutions, we're just providing a system that the city can implement if they want, because they have the expertise, they have the knowledge, they know what's going on, and we can just provide a series of steps, like prescribed steps that of course can evolve. But for now, we thought it would be best to organize them or start them off with the analysis, which is basically taking the green infrastructure that the city has already built up and dividing it into different components. So we've listed here 5, but there are more, of course, which is sustainable mobility plan, so all the plans related to effective and sustainable transformation, creative energy production and recovery, so all the technologies related to district heating and renewable energy resources, electromobility plan, which is again about sustainable infrastructure, and zero waste management, which the city is very forward in comparison with other cities in Europe and the world. And stormwater management. And after that analysis, which was point 1, we suggest the integration of the knowledge triangle and the application of that expertise to each of these components identified previously. So we make sure that people who have the expertise or the capital or some research agenda in that specific field, it can be waste management, it can be sustainable mobility, etc., have the consolidated platform to actually innovate and develop. And then finally, step 3, which we propose, would be taking that specialized triangle and apply it to different parts of the city that already can offer some infrastructure. It can be universities, it can be business parks, it can be private companies, all the components that go into the triangle. And to give some examples of what we mean, So something similar has already been achieved, for example, in Helsinki, our Helsinki region. So that's Otaniemi, which is not in the city center, and it has the facilities from each field of the triangle related to high-tech businesses in this particular case. So they have Aalto University, which provides engineering expertise from students and academics. They have an excellent startup scene and different businesses that go into the consolidated triangle in that particular part of the city. And the local example that we propose to look at would be the technological park in Ljubljana in Brdo, which already has proposed some infrastructure, has some businesses that operate already there in the area of clean tech, and is in proximity to local education facilities, such as the University of Ljubljana School of Engineering. So this can be something valuable to look at. And we have taken a map of Ljubljana and tried to represent visually what we mean. So these triangles correspond to some areas of expertise that already exist in the city and can be just developed further. And then once they are developed, let's say in their particular field, the city center, for example, which now holds all of the knowledge and expertise, can still perform its function, but can become an exhibition platform for all of these different regions, so that the city is activated holistically, and the city center just doesn't, steal the show and hold all the interesting things happening in the city. And the benefits of this approach would be, like I said, the involvement of different stakeholders so that they work in a collaborative manner, and the transfer of know-how to make sure that we retain the knowledge of the educated people and the innovators here in Ljubljana, decentralization of the city center, and of course activation of different hubs around the city. So it's really like an ecosystem instead of just center and periphery. Thank you very much.